Now, I want you to be 100% honest now. Do you follow up maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times? How many times do you actually follow up? So, wherever you're listening to this, make sure you take a screenshot of this episode and I want you to tag me over on Instagram and let me know your number. How many times do you follow up? So, take a screenshot right now. Now, don't be shy, it's okay. And then at the end of this, I want you to then put another post up and share with me your biggest key takeaways. All right, so that's some logistical stuff out of the way, because honestly, if I'm doing this every week for you, selfishly, I want to know you're learning something and also getting better at your sales, marketing, automation strategies. We good? Yes? All right. So let's dig into today's episode about follow-up. Now, I know this is a huge thing, and I sat down last night and I did some research to find some places who actually researched some statistics around follow-up. Now, some of these numbers are shocking. So let me share with you 9 sexy numbers for where most people are letting money fall through the table. Now, there was a study I read from HubSpot, and it was conducted in 2007, and they actually cited the National Sales Executive Association for this research. 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the initial meeting. But get this, 44% of people give up after the first one. Crazy, right? Number 2, so that was tip number 1, statistics, sexy number 1. Sexy number 2, a study by the Beverett Group that was conducted in 2018 then goes and supports the one that I found on HubSpot, which found that the average salesperson only follows up 1.3 times after the initial contact, right? And the same study also found that 80% of sales follow-ups require 5 calls. But again, 44% of people give up after follow-up 1. So that then supported the initial research project as well. Now, here is another one. According to the Sales Management Association, 90% of sales are lost because of the lack of follow-up. So you're leaving 90% of your money sitting on the table. 90% if you would just follow up more than once. And a report by the Insider Sales found that 30 to 50% of your sales will actually go to the first person who responds. So what is your respond rate? How quickly do you respond to somebody when they first contact you? Is it days? Think about how much money you're leaving on the table. Now, the next one I found was by Cyrus Decisions, that 80% of unqualified leads will buy from somebody in 2 years. But 25% of people persist beyond the initial sales point. So think about it. Remember how I always say that the work we do today affects our bank account in 3 to 6 months' time? Now, those are people at a different buying decision level. But if you continuously follow up and nurture your prospects, even when they're unqualified and not yet ready for you, in 2 years' time, they could potentially be a customer. And I've seen this. 4 or 5 years, people have followed me and then eventually become a customer. So do you have a long-term nurture sequence in place? And we're going to get to that. I'm going to give you some hot tips around how you can improve your follow-up systems. Now, the next one, I missed my little subtitles. If you're watching this live, you'll see that the numbers are changing. Number 8, a study by Marketing Donut found 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Now, 12 contacts. Wow. Who's following up 12 times? And again, only 10% of people follow up more than 3%. And another research, finally, number 9. Now, I could have kept going. I had written down, I think I got up to about 20, and I picked the top 9 that I really liked in the statistics. Research by the InsideSales.com, they found that 80% of sales are from follow-up 5 after the initial meeting. And again, most people, 44% of sales don't happen after the initial 1 follow-up. Pretty shocking statistics. That's literally most of your sales come from follow-ups. So who's following up like a pro? Are you? Come on, let me know. Be totally honest now. Are you actually following up like a professional? It is not the job of your client or prospect to actually follow up with you. Oh, if they love me, they'll reach out. It doesn't work that way. They are busy running families, lives, events, their own thing. They're so busy running their own thing that they don't follow up. Are you running your business like a business owner? It's like one of those jobs, a to-do income-producing activity that most people avoid because of the fear. And I am sure, okay, we sent out a text message for today's follow-up. I'm sure from the thousands of text messages we sent out today, for Strategy with Sally, that some of the people, I'm just checking my phone right now, weren't happy, okay, with the follow-up. 100% amateur, says Flamingo Biz. Okay, so it looks as though, I've got to fix up my text message account. Didn't pay the bill. Must have been low in the monies. I forgot to top up the account. So the text message didn't go out. But generally what happens is when we send the text message out, we get a few stops coming back for when we have Strategy with Sally. Let me know if you got an email from us. Did you get an email from us that made you attend or watch this live today? Right, so this is a follow-up. Just getting people to your free trainings is a way to nurture as well as follow up with people. Okay, so I would put this in the nurture and follow up. Well, I actually call it the nurture to convert stage, which is stage number 3. If you know the customer's life cycle, we've taught this on a previous episode, so you can go back and look it up. But you can totally increase your sales dramatically if you just follow up. Now, before I get into the 9 tips, I want to share a story with you about a client that I worked with who was a fashion consultant, and we implemented what I call here in the Sparkle world the 9-step follow-up. Okay, now there is not many original thoughts up here in my brain. Most things come from modeling success, modeling somebody who is successful. Now, one thing was the VOS. Everyone knows I'm very proud of the VOS. And the second thing is the 9-step follow-up, which is actually 12 things, but 9 automated steps and 3 manual steps for follow-up. Now, this fashion consultant, we had ads running to book appointments with her. And before I had this bright idea, she was getting, a couple of appointments a day. Okay, just a couple. And you would probably think, that's pretty good. No, she was getting, 400 something leads coming in a day. There's a whole story around how we got from about 10 leads a day to 400 leads a day, but that's not about the follow-up. That's about headlines. Again, there's another episode on that. But the follow-up, I implemented this follow-up, 9-step follow-up system in her business. And she had that many appointments booked that we literally had to turn off the funnel. She could not keep up with the amount of bookings and rebookings she was getting because of the 9-step follow-up. And then, of course, there were 3 manual follow-ups. So, are you doing that? That takes us to 12 follow-ups, and that's what a lot of statistics said, right? Most of the yeses come between that 5, 6 to 12. So I was like, I've got to throw me into my system at least 12 follow-ups, and we automated 9 of those. It's pretty cool, right? So let me give you some tips now on how you can follow up like a pro. I want you to start treating your business like a profession and follow up like a pro so that you stop leaving money sitting on the table. So tip number 1, personalize your follow-ups. So tailor your messages to each individual based on their specific needs and interests. Now, this will help you stand out from a lot of other contacts, other coaches, other experts that are sending these people messages. It's no longer generic and it speaks directly to them. Now, there's ways we can automate to personalize, but hey, look, read what the people are writing to you or saying to you and respond by repeating back and showing empathy and understanding to those people to personalize the message. Are you doing that? Let me know. Yes or no. I want some yeses or nos for each of these tips. All right, next is tip number 2, provide value. So rather than just checking in to provide them with an offer or I have this thing that I want you to buy, provide really valuable resources every time you send a follow-up message, like an article or a blog post or a video like what we do, something that is related to their interest and why they've come to you. So this demonstrates to them your area of expertise and always will keep them engaged. So, are you providing value? We call this the lead return sequence because what we're doing is we're giving 3 times. We give them value and then we ask, and that returns a lead back to us. But you don't want to be asking all the time. You see, as somebody who is selling something, we cannot control their credit card. We can't force them to pull out their credit card and buy from us, but we can control the value, the resources, the tips, the help to them so that they can make an informed decision if we're a good fit for them. So remove the emotional connection to the outcome and focus on value. Number 3 is be persistent, but also respectful. Follow up multiple times, but be respectful of their time and preferences. So ask them if you're specifically, say, in a sales call or you're in the DMs trying to set up a call or a follow-up conversation, ask them, what do they prefer? Maybe they want to jump into Zoom. Maybe they would prefer communications via email, DMs, and then how frequently they would like to hear from you. Now, I highly recommend that you're at least emailing once a week. You will be surprised how much money you're leaving on the table when you're not emailing people. Now, you might be that person that's like, I don't read emails. I don't like emails. But guess what? You're not trying to attract you. You're trying to attract others. And some of those amazing people, humans who have used their tippy tap fingers to give you their email address, to book an appointment with you, they want to hear from you. They're adults. That's the reason why they put their information in the first place. And if you don't be persistent and keep showing up, they're going to forget about you. So, number 3, are you doing this well? Are you being persistent? Are you sending an email at least once a week? Now, number 4 is to use a CRM. So, number 4 is to use a CRM. So that's a customer relationships management system. So this system can help you to also track your follow-ups that also schedule for you. There's so much automation that you can do inside of your CRM, like sending reminders for making sure you don't get no-shows turning up to your appointments. We use our CRM. Oh my God, it's the beating heart of our business. I like to call it my staff in a box because before I had staff, my CRM was taking care of business for me. Now, please, I implore you, don't invest in, and it's not even expensive, but just free CRM software. Honestly, let me work out the math. Hang on, I'm going to do the math now on a good CRM. Works out to be less than $4 a day for a good CRM. Now, if you're not investing $4 in your business for your staff in a box, I want you to take a good hard look at yourself and ask yourself, am I a real business owner? Right? The thing is when you set up a really good CRM, what you're doing is you're never going to have to build your automation again. You're never going to have to learn another piece of software. Please avoid the pitfalls and mistakes that I did, going from free to really cheap to the next level to finally going hallelujah and finding a really good CRM. You know, it's like the specialist, right? You could go to a doctor that does generic, sort of does a bit of CRM, or you can go to somebody who invests in having a process and a system to make setting up your automation easier. Okay, so I know I get on my high horse whenever I talk about CRMs, and there's a whole nother episode about what we choose, why we choose it, but please invest in a good CRM. It's less than $4 a day, people. I mean, here's my cup of coffee. That's cost me more than $4, right? And I have probably 4 or 5 of these a day. So number 5, in your follow-up system, please set deadlines. Okay, so give your prospects really clear deadlines to take action, such as when you book an appointment, here's what I always say. Never finish a conversation without booking your next conversation. So they've got a deadline to make a decision, right? When they sign up for a free conversation with you, let them know this is your one and only time slot. If you cancel or ghost me, you will never get back on to talk to me. This also creates a sense of urgency, and it helps people to move forward to making a decision better. Now, we open the doors to our program and we have limited spaces because of the amount of work that we do. So I want you to start to think about, are you setting deadlines? One, out in your marketing strategies, but even on your sales conversations to help people get to that decision better. Okay, tip number 6. We forget this. So many people forget this. When you have the customer lifecycle automation system set up, you won't forget this because it's an automated process. But do not forget to ask for referrals. Don't just be satisfied with clients who give you referrals, because word of mouth marketing can be a really powerful tool to get more coaching clients. So in our stage number 7 of our follow-up customer lifestyle system, it is reviews and referrals. And you can ask for these. You can ask current clients and even people that have been following you that are not yet clients. Maybe they're not ready for you yet. However, maybe they know somebody who is. So, number 6 is ask for referrals. Number 7, get creative with your follow up methods. So, are you just DMing and that's all you're doing, just DMing? Or are you calling? What about sending a personalized video message or even a handwritten note? You know the old snail mail? What about a handwritten note that people are going to their letterbox and, whoa, what is this thing with this little, this is called a stamp, isn't it? Right? I used to collect stamps when I was a kid, soak them off. My grandfather used to collect them as well. So think about, what can you do to really build that stronger connection with your prospects and get a little creative? We have a really fun follow-up video with me and my bird, and we're talking and waving to follow up with people who we meet on Instagram. So what are you doing? Are you doing any creative methods? Now, number 8 is how we can also allow us, if we take you back to tip number 1, which was to personalize your message, if you segment your audience into different groups based on their interests, their needs, you can actually tailor your follow-up messages accordingly, because this can help you create a more targeted, more relevant automation so that they're getting the right information from you based on what they're interested in. I'll give you an example. We have what's called a reoccurring, what's the word of the, give me a moment. See, I write the tips and then I just let it flow, and I've got to remember what we call it. We call it the cycling offers. So what we're doing through a cycling offer is we will go out with our weekly email and we will send them a message, for example, on follow-ups. Now, if they open that message on follow-ups, we then segment them into, these are people who want to know more about follow-ups. Then, if they open, we'll send them down a track of information to teach them about how to follow up more professionally like a pro. Now, if they don't open the follow-up message, then the next week we'll send them another email. But this time we're going to talk to them about, say, sales calls. Again, if they open it, we'll segment them. So we know these people are very interested in learning about how to do sales calls without feeling icky, sleazy, or gross. And if they don't, the next week we'll send them another message and we'll ask them, maybe it's about automation. And if they open it again, we'll segment them. Now, as they go through each of these different pieces of content, what we'll do is, if they open, they'll stay in that track and they'll get the education, okay? But once they go through all of the different topics we have, we cycle them back to the beginning. And the system will recognize, did they open the follow-up first message last time? If yes, send them to the next one. Did they open up the sales calls one? If yes, send them to the next one. Did they open up the automation? If no, send them the automation message. And if they open it, great. If they're not, they'll keep skipping over that one. So what we then do is, when we run a promotion around follow-ups, for example, we'll make sure we tailor the message to those people who are interested in follow-ups if we're running a promotion around that. So it will allow you to really hone in and to really target your audience in a way that probably a lot of you haven't even thought about doing. But this is why I love me automation. It doesn't mean that it doesn't become personal and we don't speak to people and automation does everything. Automation just allows us to spend more time with those people who need us now. And the automation takes care of those people who are not yet ready and are just looking for resources. So Tip number 8, to segment your audience. Are you doing that? Let me know. Come on, don't be shy. Let me know. All right, so tip number 9, and you know it's the thing I love the most. Tip number 9 is to track your results. Yes, baby, I'm talking about those sexy, sexy numbers. Are you tracking the analytics to see what the effectiveness is of your follow up efforts? Like, how many people actually respond to your messages, or how many conversions are you getting from each of the messages that you're sending? Now, this can help you to identify, one, what is working well, but also, more importantly, what isn't working and what needs your attention for improvement. We have gorgeous Excel spreadsheets that we track our data in. I've even got them coded so that if we don't hit our metrics, they turn red. And when we do, they turn yellow when we're within KPIs. And then they turn green, should be purple, but it's easier, the traffic light, right? Traffic light system. Green when we're above KPI. So use the traffic light system inside of whatever ways you are tracking your analytics. Under KPI is is red, within KPI is orange, and above KPI is green. So there was 9 tips for you on how to follow up like a professional. Because by personalizing your follow-up messages, by providing really awesome value, being persistent but also respectful, using a CRM, setting deadlines, asking for referrals, getting creative, segmenting your audience, and tracking results, you will be able to increase your sales in your coaching business. So keep following up like a pro. So here is your time now to head on over with your tippy tap fingers to the socials. And I want you to tell me, tag me on Instagram stories. What was your biggest aha? What was your biggest key learning or takeaway from this episode? Awesome. All right, guys, have an absolutely fabulous day. Never let anyone dull your sparkle, and make sure you get at least one income producing activity done each and every day.